Hi, I'm Crispus Gedai Kemaru. I'm 39 years old. Come from Nyeri County, but I work in Nairobi. This year is a special year for me because I'm celebrating 5 years of sobriety. It's 5 years since I last took alcohol, and it's a special occasion because for 17 years, up to 2017, I struggled with alcohol. It messed a lot of my life. I lost my family, I lost jobs, good jobs, and friendships, relationships, investments. And after 5 years of being sober, I thought this is the right time to share with the world and maybe to motivate other people who are struggling with the same. I've been through dark moments. I've done so. During that time I had so many people, and I thought maybe as part of my healing process I should maybe talk to the world about it. I talked to my wife about it, and she inspired me to talk to others. And since I started sharing my story on February 8th, when I was celebrating my 5 years of sobriety, I've touched so many people. I have been in contact with so many people struggling with alcoholism, and I know I'll still talk to many more. There are so many people outside there suffering, both men and women, with the alcohol disorder, alcohol abuse disorder, and other addictions. But for me, mostly my problem was alcoholism, and I lost so much, and I don't want other people to go through the same. I think maybe by speaking out, I might influence someone somewhere struggling. Maybe they don't know what steps they can take to make that step. And by speaking, by coming here, by sharing on Twitter, I think maybe I'll be able to influence someone positively. It has motivated me seeing my two brothers who are also struggling with the same problem, living and being able to live a sober life. It motivates me to see my parents happy that all of us, the four of us who are struggling with, the three of us who are struggling with alcoholism, are now sober, although I still have one brother who is struggling. So I've gone to college and all that, but I lost many opportunities that were coming my way because of alcoholism. Maybe to bring my story into perspective, I was born in 1983 into a lovely family of 9. The age gap between my elder brothers and sisters was a bit big, but there was a lot of love. My parents provided everything that we wanted, and I was this small boy. I was good in school, and everything was going on well. I did my KCPE. I didn't perform as I expected, and I ended up at a school in Kiambu, and maybe the molestation that was the bullying that was there maybe played a part in what happened to me with my alcoholism or my alcohol issues. I went to, later I was transferred to a better school, but still there was a lot of bullying. I was not performing as well as I had expected, and all those issues and the self-esteem, they brought me down. When I was finally done with my high school, I really wanted to feel like a man, and as a small boy, there was no other way for me. That's what I thought, and that's when I started drinking. My first drink was in 1989. I think I was 16 years old, but that was just a sip of Moratina, and nothing much happened. But I felt good. It was sweet. So in 2000, when I was just before joining high school, Form 4, we prepared some Moratina. It was on New Year 1st, January 1st, and I drank so much, and I messed in the village. I get crashed into a wedding. I blacked out. I couldn't remember what happened, but I remember when I became conscious, I was surrounded by the bride and the bridal party, and people were shouting, they were crying. An old man there was trying to resuscitate me because they thought I was dead. I was this small boy, drunk in the village. It was a fiasco. And later when my parents heard about it, we fought, and even when I went back to school, we were not in good terms. But in school, I had started performing well, so I was thinking that if I excelled in the final exam, I would be able to, maybe they won't feel so bad about whatever I had done. But again, after my Form 4, I didn't perform as well. But even before the exams were out, in 201, I had, by the time I was getting out of school, the school gate, I really wanted to now drink because I thought I was an adult. It was fun for me, but I didn't know what I was playing with. I was playing with fire, and it backfired on me later. So that day I finished my exams. I went to my hometown, Karatina. I got drunk. I had some pocket money. I got drunk. I felt like a man, but I was puking all over, and my brother took me home like a package, and my parents heard about it. So immediately after Form 4, we started fighting, and that has been the story with my parents all through the 17 years I was drinking. I was always fighting with them because they were telling me to change my ways. They were trying to take me to church. They were trying to pray for me, but I thought they were just interfering with my freedom. From the first moment I drank, or I started drinking, I felt so powerful. I felt so alive. I felt like a man. I could talk to girls. I could talk to women. I could do anything a man would do normally. And I think that's how I became hooked. As a small boy, small-bodied boy, I needed something to, to boost my self-esteem. So as I waited to join college, I got a B, and to me, it was a fail because even the teachers expected maybe I would perform better. So as I waited to join Moi University, all through 2001, 2002, I was drinking a lot. There were those sachets, 10 bob, 30 bob, 20 bob. You would get a sachet and you would remain high. That's how I used to operate even at home. And my parents wouldn't even know, unless maybe I messed up. So even going to the shamba, picking tea leaves, I would always be high. I would always have a sachet, and they never noted. They never knew it was a serious thing. They thought maybe these are just a young man being a young man, okay, trying to mess up, and they thought it would go. But by that time, some of my brothers were already badly affected by alcohol, but I didn't even know that this thing can be hereditary. I didn't even know there is what they call an alcohol gene, or that risk of it passing to you through the generations. So as I was joining college, I was happy that now I would have my own money. You know, we were getting help, the loan from the government, and for once I now had money in the bank, and my dad would not tell me how to use my money, okay, and I would still require some pocket money from him, although there wasn't a lot of money in the family. So from the first day I joined Moi University Eldoret, I started now drinking badly, now with my own money. My dad would not tell me. I would not listen to anyone, not my brothers, not my friends, no one. I was still small-bodied, and the only way for me to feel good or for me to feel accepted, I needed that sense of belonging. I really needed to belong. When I saw other guys dating and doing things that men do, I would try, and the only way for me to do that would be maybe by drinking first. That way I would be able to approach girls. But I wasn't even dating. I didn't even have a relationship, because anytime I took alcohol, I would blow up. I would become a mess. I would start puking. I would start shouting in the village. In college, I was a known drunkard. I discovered busa and cham, moody. We would mix busa and changa. Most of the days I would be drinking. I had taken a course that was easy, because I was taking a Bachelor of Education in English Literature. So most of the work required just reading novels, and I would do that maybe when I was sober. So I didn't have a lot of stress in college. So drinking was my life. There was a slum next to our campus, main campus, Moi, called Mabatini. So I was a regular there. It was a low income, a very low income slum. It was built by some masons who had the guys who built Moi University. They never left, so they started a slum there. So the Mabatini village was where we would get any type of cheap beer. I'm very sure some people at Moi University never even ventured there, because it had these dark alleys, and it was a messy kind of place, but that is where I felt at home. At that time, I already knew my drinking was getting worse, because I didn't even have a moral compass. I would go into brothels in Eldoret. I would, because I wasn't dating, so many nights I would be in Eldoret town if I had money. The first 2 weeks of the semester, before when the help came, I would be in brothels. I would be spending money on women, because I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't even have the courage to approach one. And anytime maybe I tried while drunk, I would get slapped, because I was messy. I was messing up all over. So my drinking continued. It got worse. I wanted the cravings now started. I had read something about the brain wiring and how the brain now starts demanding for whatever you are giving it that feels good. So for me, it was alcohol. What had started as fun had now turned into a burden. Now I needed alcohol to operate. It wasn't still bad. I was able to move through first year. Then second year, one day I was so high. I was coming from Mabatini, the slum. I was singing. I used to sing, those circumcision songs and old Kikuyu songs while drunk, and I think it was late. It was around 11. I had some music. The CU, the Christian Union guys, were rehearsing, and it was a Friday evening, I remember. So I walked in and I got, I don't know what happened, but I remember kneeling down or something like that. But the next day, I was making even unconscious decisions, stupid decisions. I had memory loss, blackouts. I would find myself sleeping everywhere. So that night, I got saved. I got born again. Okay. The next day on Saturday, somebody came to my room, our hostel, to my room, and started calling me Brother Chris. I had no recollection, just a minor bit. And after I walked out and I talked to him, he told me, bro, you got saved. Now you are Brother Chris. And I asked him, Brother Chris, like I made that decision. You mean I knelt and you prayed for me? Yes. You even joined the choir. And I told him, I can't even sing. My voice is like that of a frog. I can't even sing. And he told me, he was a high school, one of my high school colleagues, but we were in college together. He told me, you know what, maybe this is the decision you need to take, because obviously you can see your drinking is not taking you well. And I told him, let me think about it. You come for me during the Bible studies. That was the first time I got born again. I was high. It was one of the many. I think throughout my drinking life, the 17 years, I was getting born again maybe 3 times in a year or something like that. I would walk around in town or in the village, see a crusade, maybe I would be high and I would get born again. So people would jokingly say I'm Pastor Chris or Father Chris. I had that title one time. So I stayed sober for 7 months in 2004. That time I got born again, and it was a good feeling. But then when I started now saving some money, we even started a business in college, hiring out movies and VCDs and TV. I started making some money, and then I went back into drinking, and it got so bad. I was almost unable to complete that year. But God is good. I managed. Sometimes I would walk into class high. I remember one time I walked into the lecture hall, and I didn't know I was smelling that badly. I saw all the ladies walk away, and later my friends told me, "Hey boss, Kwani you didn't even brush," and it was shameful. So because of the because of the shame, whatever I was messing up so much in college, no lady, no respectful lady would talk to me in college. And the shame and the guilt, the feeling that now I was failing, I thought this would be fun, this would be the thing that would make me maybe become acceptable or give me that sense of belonging. Now it was hurting me, and I had no way of stopping. My mom would try talking to me. My dad would just get angry. I would tell my mom I don't know what's happening. I try stopping for a day. The next day the cravings would come back. It was like a demon. Sometimes even the pastors would say it's a demon. They would pray for me, hit me, and the way they exorcise those demons. My demons were so stubborn. They never, my alcoholic demons were so stubborn. They never got out of my system. But I was able to graduate, and because I wasn't in good terms with my parents, I had sworn that I would go very far away from them. Okay, I attempted, and I got a teaching job somewhere in Kikuyu, Gekambura, near Dogoto, somewhere there. For 1 year, I stayed away from my family. That was 2007, 2008. And I was still applying for better jobs. But I was drinking a lot. And I didn't want to take my shame. I didn't want to be judged. So I stayed in, I was always comfortable staying in the dingiest of places. The sleaziest of places, where there are prostitutes, where there are alcoholics, drunkards, people who had no hope. That was, and you see, I was a graduate with a certificate in B.Ed, and I had at that time I was even publishing short stories on Daily Nation and poetry on Standard, and I knew I had this creative inkling in me, but the alcohol was interfering with everything. Luckily, I came to Nairobi for a few months, and I taught somewhere in Donholm, and then some of the applications I had made or I had sent out were fruitful. I got some interviews at Cooperative, KCB, and then I got a job in August. After a very grueling interview, I got a job at Safaricom in 2008. Now, I was staying with a cousin in Kabete, Odero, around that place. So I wasn't drinking that much because I would commute from my uncle's place, and these were Christians, staunch Christians, and my cousin was he was old, almost like my dad, and he was tough, so I would not dare drink. But then our job station was changed from Westlands to somewhere along Mombasa Road, and so I had to shift and find a place of my own. And that's when I ended up in a pipeline along Jogoo Road, from the airport, Jogoo Road. And that's how my life now started now as an independent guy living alone and drinking. My family still didn't know how I was. They didn't even know how I joined Safaricom, but it was just through the grace of God. All through my drinking, God was always there protecting me, because some of the stuff I was doing while drunk, I should have died a long time ago, but here I am sitting talking about my story. So I went to pipeline, and I'm telling you, I was always comfortable in the darkest of places. And at that time, pipeline was not this classy place, maybe as it is now. There are nice apartments now. Those days, there was Mongeki and so many cartels, and there were brothels all over. I felt at home, and the money was coming in. I was employed. I had this title, you know, I'm working at a blue chip company, but I would feel comfortable drinking cheap beer because I needed to drink from 1st to 31st. So I would not take the bottled beer or the expensive whiskeys or gin. I would take keg or the cheapest of beers. And then that wasn't enough. I had gotten into, I think I was almost addicted to the brothels. They even knew my name. They even knew what I wanted. So anytime I would walk into the brothel, I don't want to mention the name of the places, they would even know my preference. You know, I wanted this type. Sometimes they would ask me, hey Chris, leo unataka what size, leo unataka nani? And I would feel good because no one knew me, no one would judge me. And you know the worst part, when you are around people who don't know you, you can do anything. For me, the drinking had removed that moral concept. I didn't feel bad. Even when I tried dating and maybe I had someone in my life, prostitutes would always come first. I would always feel the urge to have sex with prostitutes, and I was always high. There are so many times I woke up in brothels, no shoes, no phone, nothing. At one time, I remember even my smaller brother came looking for me with my friend James. They came looking for me, and they knew the only place they would find me was in a brothel. And that's where they found me. No shoes, drunk, sleeping on a table. And that's a guy working at a blue chip company. My job performance obviously was going down. I was a performer, but now I would miss work even for days. I would lie. I would go to the hospital. We had insurance, $1 million worth insurance. I would go to hospital, take sick offs. You know, my job was interfering with my drinking, and I wasn't feeling like working. I wanted to drink and drink myself to death. By that time, I had already developed those suicidal thoughts. I had messed up with everyone. By that time, I had a girlfriend. I think it didn't even last. We quarreled. My dad, my mom, my brothers, my sisters. I would lie so much. I would even borrow money, and I had a big salary because I would not sustain myself throughout the month. And it got so bad that at one time I would go to the headquarters for salary advances. And yeah, you can take an advance, but you see, you are a young guy, maybe you are not even 1 year into the job or 2 years, but you are taking an advance. And the HR ladies would look at you like, are you well? And I didn't have anyone to share with. I didn't know how to tell people I was feeling tired of my life. At one time, maybe I would tell my then girlfriend, I am tired of life. The debts were piling up. At that time, they were giving these unsecured loans. So I would take one from one bank Then after some time, I would go to the other bank, tell them to buy the first loan and add me something. So I ended up, and that's how I ended up in CRB. I think I had almost $1 million in by the time the CRBs came in. I had borrowed, and I couldn't even show anything or anything I had done with that money. And the suicidal thoughts kept coming. I would always think of the best way to die. I had written so many eulogies. I think one of my brothers, maybe, I think he took that book and threw it away, because you know, as an African, you're not supposed to do that. It's like a bad omen. I always used to write the eulogies with so much pain. I would say I don't want any prayers, I don't want any photos, I don't want, I just want to be maybe interred very quickly. And I was just trying to express my pain. Some of the things I was feeling, I couldn't speak to anyone. If I spoke to maybe a brother or a sister, they would tell me, you are not strong. So I just kept quiet. And the only way for me to cover up, the only way I would feel good would be to drink. So I would drink, I would borrow. I remember one time I sold a set of my sofa sets, because I thought I don't have visitors in my house. A bed is enough, because I was living in a bed sitter. So I sold the set, and I stayed for months. You see, and at that time I'm working for a big company. Yeah, every evening there's a van coming for me there, and I have sold my sofa set, and very high quality, and no one was noticing. I didn't allow my family close to me at that time, and any time we met, I would be the one, I would be, you know, entertaining them. And yeah, sometimes they would complain when I drink, I mess up, or I end up embarrassing them. But to me, that was not an issue. I would go back to my pipeline house and live my own way. And while living in pipeline, I discovered town life, CBD, the brothels. I even felt better now in town, because you see, in pipeline I had neighbors, I had workmates. So sometimes they would ask where I always go inside there, those dark alleys. So I didn't want questions. So I discovered town, Sabina Joy, Somerset, Small World, Ludhuli Avenue. You know, there was a time Ludhuli Avenue, before it became this electronics hubbub, there was a time every other building had some staircases. And I always wondered, do people even know what happened in those, where those staircases used to lead to? But I knew all of them. Just if you only peeped, you'd you'd see a lot of legs on the stairs, and you just had to walk in and you choose. It's like a bazaar. You choose whoever you want, and then there were rooms there. When I think about the things I used to do, the risks I would take, sometimes it's overwhelming that God saw it fit for me to still come out of it. I would cry to God and ask, why I want to die? Why are you allowing? Why are you retaining? Why are you sticking with me? So you let me just die.